بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. حياكم الله in another dars for Kitab Attawheed. Tonight, inshallah, we are also discussing one of the important chapters which is really touching our life now, which is the case of Tanjeem or astrology, which is actually widely spread now among people, thinking that if they read these things, they may know what's going in the future, inshallah, which is impossible, of course, because it's contradicting with the Quran and Sunnah. Let's see what Shaykh Rahmatullah alayhi said in this chapter, or the chapter of Kitab Tawheed, after the introduction of Shaykh Imtiaz. Barakallah fi, go ahead.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. So as just Shaykh Jazakallah khair introduced the today's topic, so we will get into the topic in few minutes. But before that, brothers, if you have any questions, you can feel free to type in the chat box. So we'll take the questions and then inshallah we'll continue others. So Shaykh, until the questions comes in, shall we begin the dars, Shaykh?
Yes, go ahead.
So the matters discussed in the today's dars will be about this chapter. Second point will be the purpose of stars creation. The third point will be punishment of astrologers believers. Fourth, types of astrology. So in the first chapter today, in this chapter, as believing in effectiveness of stars in space events contradicts Tawheed, Shaykh wrote this chapter to warn Muslims from disbelief.
Yeah. Actually, this case is not known in Arabs' times, in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but also it's almost around the whole world. From China to Africa to Europe and so on. A lot of people, even from the ancient time, from long time ago, they are dealing with this. Why? Because people who do not have wahi or revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they try to know things which is not possible to know by their regular sense. So they start to use their minds on wrong things that the minds cannot work in, which is like the ghaib, the unseen world, and so on. Those smart people like Aflatun or Plato or Socrates or Bokrat or even a lot of philosophers tried. They were smart and they wanted to say something about the life, the future, but since they are talking about something they cannot reach by their own sense, including their brains, they made a lot of mistakes. Same thing for human beings who are trying to know. The people of Ibrahim, as an example, alayhi salam, as an example, they are using the stars to know things. So they say if this star in this area, then things will happen. A person who was born in such and such time with that star, his life will be like this, and so on. So actually, Shaykh Rahmatullah alayhi wanted to break this wrong understanding among Muslims and even non-Muslims that this is not correct thing, because this is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the stars has nothing to do with our life or the events of this universe. So let's see now one by one.
Yeah. Second point, the purposes of stars creation. Qatada rahimahullah said, Allah created the stars for three purposes. The first, as ornaments of the heavens. The second, as missiles against the devils. And the third, as sign spots for the guidance of travelers.
Okay. First of all, who is Qatada? Qatada is one of the Tabi'een, and of course, what he is saying is what he understood from Quran and Sunnah. A lot of ayat in Quran will tell us why these stars are there. رجوما للشياطين زينة للسماء الدنيا. That's what the Qatada rahimahullah understood, and he explained in here. وبالنجم هم يهتدون. This is the third one. So let's see them one by one. First of all, they are some kind of decoration. زينة للسماء الدنيا. if you are in the desert or far away from the cities, there's no lights, electricities, you will see that these stars, they look like something, subhanallah, you will say, subhanallah, how good looking these stars in the space on this in the sky. So they are zina. Second one is that they are as missiles against the devils who are trying to reach the heavens to grab the information from what they hear from the angels, then drop it to the magicians and predictors, as we mentioned in previous Doroos. As Rasulullah mentioned that there come the jinn, devil jinns go each one on top of the other one until they reach close to the heavens, so they can hear what the angels are saying. They receive the orders from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then they deliver to the next people, the next angels. So like Malakul Maut, he will receive the order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that in that day take the soul of these persons, and he gives them the names. Then this angel will tell his subordinates or his helpers among the angels that you go to India, take the souls of these people, you go to this area. So there is knowledge which is not known by human beings. So when these devil jinns grab this knowledge and throw it to the predictor or the magician, and he tells people, okay, that guy will die tomorrow. So now, and tomorrow the guy dies. So the people will think that the predictor knows the ghaib. That's not true, of course, as we said, as Rasulullah explained to us. So these stars, actually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending them as missiles to destroy and to throw away these devils from coming to the skies to grab the information from the angels. The third reason or purpose of the stars is a guidance for travelers. Before there were no these guidance things we have now, whatever they call them now, GPS or Google Map or whatever. Before, they are using the stars to know where they are going, to know the way, the direction of Qibla. So they look at that star at Al-Maghrib, that star is the Qibla in this way. In Al-Isha, the other star will be the direction of Qibla. Or this star will be the direction of the north. That star will be will direct to the south, and so on. So by these, whether they are in the desert or in an open area or even in the sea, will direct them, okay, you are going to that strike, because they can see that star which is going to take. I remember, and even although we are now a lot of flights now, I remember that there is 3 stars in one row and another stars in another row, always directed to north. When I was in the desert or when I was in my farm and so on, where there's no much lights, I can see them easily, and I know that's north. Easy and simple. So this is one of the reasons, purposes of the stars, as Qatada rahimahullah said, is to know the directions and to guide people and to know where is the Qibla. And that's important, because we'll come to see, is it allowed to learn the astrology or not? We'll see this inshallah in a few minutes.
Continuing on the point 2, whoever interprets otherwise is mistaken. Otherwise means what we have just learned in the 3 points. So such a person is to lose his reward on the day of resurrection and takes upon himself that which is outside his knowledge.
Yeah, so unless somebody is using the stars other than what we have learned in these 3 purposes mentioned by Qatada rahimahullah, he is actually in the wrong way, and he could reach the level of kufr, as we will see in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Hudaybiyah, when he sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed al-Fajr, and there was some rain on the night. So Rasulullah, after he finished the Salat al-Fajr, he turned to his Sahaba and he said, do you know what Allah said? Sahaba said, Allah wa Rasul alam, we don't know. So he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, some of my slaves woke up in the morning mu'mineen, believers, and some of them woke up as kuffar, who said that we are we received this rain because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those are mu'mineen. Those who said that we received this rain, or that rain was because of the stars, he is kafir. So here's the case that they think that stars are affecting even the rain, affecting the wind. That's a problem in here, and that's actually widely spread among Arabs that time, in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and even in the other nations, Chinese or Romans or Persians and so on.
Continuing the same point, Harb has reported that the learning of the lunar phases was permitted by Ahmad and Ishaq, discouraged by Qatada, and prohibited by Ibn Uyayna.
Yeah.
So this is narrated by Imam al-Bukhari.
Right. Harb was one of the ulama, and he reported that learning the lunar system, okay, it is allowed by some ulama and prohibited by other ulama. Why? Because those ulama who looked that the system of the moon, movement of the moon, to know the beginning of the month, to know of this, learning the system of the stars, to know the direction and so on, say it's allowed. They say it's allowed. Those who thought that people are learning these for otherwise, they said that's not allowed. So sometimes when you see ulama are not agreeing upon some judgments in one case, dig for the reason why. Not because the evidences are incorrect or they did not understand the evidence. Sometimes they have different points. And as an example, a person came to a sheikh and he asked him a question. So his sheikh said haram. Another person came and asked the same sheikh a similar question, and he said halal. People will say, how's this? Easy and simple. It depends on the person. It depends on the case. Because sometimes the answer will come without knowing the question itself. They don't show the question. They will say, Shaykh Ibn Baz said haram, then he said halal. Like, okay, did you read the question? Did you show us the question to know why he said haram and he said halal? That's a question. Did you talk about the differences of the case? Let me give you a good example, which is always used by the atheists or the secularists who try to fight Islam. And especially they fight ulama, and they always say bad things about ulama. They say, you see, ulama in Saudi Arabia, in the beginning they said radio is haram. Then they said it's halal. Then they said TV is haram. Then they said TV is halal. إيش هذا? Why is this? Easy and simple. Check why they said the radio is haram in the beginning. Then they said it's halal later on. Why? Because the radio is changing. When radio was only saying or broadcasting bad things, music, cover words, whatever, then it's haram to gain it, because it's going to destroy the family members, because what they are saying is attractive. The people will, when the radio start to change and become, there is the Da'at al-Quran, there is a lot of good things in there, then it is halal. In fact, it's good to have. Same thing for the TV. TV in the beginning, what do you see? All over they will say that. In the beginning, TV was showing a lot of things. Some of it's kufr, some of it's bad, and it's changing, diverting the people to the wrong way. So in this case, gaining or buying the TV is haram. But later on, when TV now became to have some channels, which is Islamic channels, which is beneficial, showing the ulama, showing the fatawa, showing the Doroos and so on, then it's halal, or maybe good to have. But those people who are not, whether they don't want to learn or they have some hidden agenda, they will come and say this. So here I'm trying to explain this case of Qatada and Harb and the others who said, some of them say halal, some haram, because they are talking about different points of view in the case, which is not the same. To us, it's the same, but actually it's not the same. It's very important to put this in mind and bear it on mind when we deal with the fatawa of ulama. It's very important, because some people say, ulama are not really agreeing. Some of them, they say haram, says halal, says No, it's not the case this way. It's the case that we did not dig to the case of why he said haram and why he said halal. Some ulama, they take also the example of Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah. They say that Imam Shafi'i had two madhab, not one madhab. The madhab of Iraq when he was in Iraq, and another madhab for Shafi'i when he went to Egypt. If that's true, because some ulama did not agree on that, but just imagine that's true, that he had two madhab. He had two madhab. Okay? Why? Why he said halal in Egypt and haram in Iraq, or vice versa? Easy and simple. Because the people of Iraq, the situation of Iraq that time is not the same as the situation of Egypt. The cases of Iraq is not the same as cases of Egypt. So definitely, Alim will give you the answer upon your question. Take a better example. Rasulullah ﷺ was asked by three persons the same question, or they asked the same advice. He gave them different answers. A man came to him and said, Ya Rasulullah, awsini, advise me. He said, don't get angry. Three times, awsini, don't, la taghdab, awsini, la taghdab, awsini, la. Why he's giving this? The other guy, when he came and he said, Ya Rasulullah, awsini, he said, Qul amantu billahi thumma istaqim. He gave him a different answer or different advice. Third guy came and he gave him different advice. Why? It depends on the person who was asking. The first person, maybe he was known as a very bad temper a person or a man, and he gets angry so quickly, so Rasulullah gave him the advice which is suitable for him. The other guy came and maybe he needs, so he gave him different answer for suitable for him. Third guy is the same. So don't be amazed if a alim now, three persons come to him and ask him the same question, they give them different answers because they know this, the persons themselves, the life of these persons, so they give them different answers. That's natural. That's natural. So that's what I want to explain here in this hadith of Sahih Bukhari about what Harb Rahmatullah said and the other ulama said about the case of learning the lunar system.
Yeah, we're moving to point three, punishment of astrologers, believers. Abu Musa radiallahu anh, is reported to have said that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, three types of people will not enter paradise. First, the habitual wine, the alcohol drinker. The second, believer in sorcery. And this point includes the astrology in it. The third point, the one who severes the blood relations. Narrated by Imam Ahmad and Ibn Hibban.
Okay, this hadith, inshallah, sahih, as graded by a lot of ulama. Rasulullah in this hadith is saying that these three persons will not enter Jannah. Okay, there is a problem in here. Means they are kuffar? No. How? How they are not going to enter Jannah while they are Muslims? Easy and simple. Ulama, they say that if you see like this in some of the hadith or ayat even, it could mean, if you get them with the other evidences that which says that they are going to Jannah, it could mean that they will not enter Jannah in the beginning, but they will go to Jahannam first to be punished, then they will go to Jannah. If they are monotheists, if they are monotheists, that's another case. But they are Muslims and they say Shahadatain, and they are monotheists, but they are, okay, habitual to alcohol, addicted to alcohol, or they are believing in magic, or they are severe with their blood relation. ذوي الرحم, the people who are so close to him, whether brothers or sisters or uncles or so on, they are severe with them, then these people will not enter Jannah. Forever? No, because Hadith does not say that. But they don't enter the Jannah means that from the beginning. No, they will go to Jahannam to be cleaned, then they will go to, because these are major sins. Major sins in here actually will prevent the person from going to Jannah unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive him. Because Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they believe in their aqidah that the person who commits major sin, drinking alcohol or stealing or taking bribes or so on, this person, when he comes in the judgment day, he is under the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He may forgive him and send him to Jannah, and he may be punished for some times in Jahannam, then he will be ended up to Jannah, inshallah. So this hadith, this is the point. These are three. One of them is the one we're talking about in here. which is the case of the one who believe in sihr or magic, which includes also the case of astrology, believing that astrology, as we will see inshallah, that it could be major kufr. We'll see this inshallah as we'll explain. Although we have mentioned that actually some previous verse before, but we'll say it now or explain it because it's very important to understand it.
Types of astrology. The first is affective type. Astrology affects the events, which is major shirk.
Okay. This type of astrology, those people who believe that the stars are affecting the events in this universe, especially on Earth, like they say, it makes rain. Rain came, as the hadith of Rasulullah in Hudaybiyah, and he said that those who said the rain is from the stars, they commit major kufr, na'udhu billah, or major shirk, because they think that these stars are doing or giving the rain, giving the life, giving the sickness, then this is actually major shirk, because no one can do that except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, that's the first type of astrology.
Second type, guiding type. To use it to know the time or directions. Allowed and could be must.
Yeah. Yani if we are using these stars to know our directions, what's the north, what's the south, or to know yani like the year parts on for rain or hot, like we say that for summer, spring, winter, whatever, that's possible, that's okay. To know the qibla as an example by these stars is a must. Yani if you are traveling in an open area and there is no direction, no masajid, and you don't know where is the qibla, you have to use these stars. If you have any other instrument, you use the star. They use the stars to know where is the qibla. They know that star in this area, if you put it in your left side, little bit this, then qibla is this way. Khalas. Then we have to learn that. Why? Because to know the qibla is a must before doing the salah. So in this case, learning these stars or learning this astrology is actually a must, because we need it to know our way or to know our direction for qibla. That's generally. There's a lot of details in the case of types of astrology, but I just wanted to make it easy for everyone to understand. Then if somebody wants to go deeper in that, there's a lot of sources that you can go and dig in there and study it. But that's the major case. If somebody thinks that the stars or so on are affecting our life, affecting the universe, affecting the events on Earth or whatever, that's major shirk. If he think that they are not affecting, but they are only a guide, whether to directions or so on, or to know the timing, or to know the winter and summer and so on, then it's okay. And if he's using them to know the qibla, what to do, pray, then it's a must. That's actually the easiest way to say the case of astrology. And as we said in the beginning, Shaykh Rahmatullahi alayhi, he wanted to put this chapter in his Kitab Attawheed, to make people differentiate between what's correct on this side. Because as we said, every case in the Deen of Islam and Sharia, you'll find that it gives different judgments to different cases. Why? Sometimes to the same case. It depends on the person, it depends on the case, it depends on what they believe. So we have to be careful when we don't just take one judgment and go. No, we have to study the judgment before we. In fiqh, you will find, as Shaykh Ibn Othaimeen used to say, a lot of, or majority of fiqh cases, there is different opinions. Why? Why there are four madhab? Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki, Hanbali, and some other madhab. Why? Because, as we said, the alim is giving fatwa or an answer for a question depending on the situation of his area, the status of the person who is asking, and so on. Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahmatullah alayh, in the fiqh books, they say that he has sometimes three answers, three different ideas. Why? Because there were different questions. Sometimes he said this is not allowed. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes I don't like it. Why I say this way? As we said, depending on the situation, the area, the person who's asking. So we have to be careful in this case. That's why we say we always should depend on the case of the evidences. Take the evidences with the understanding of ulama, you are on the right track. Take the evidences without looking to the ulama points view, no, this is wrong. Because not everyone is able to know how to gather evidences. And one of the examples, Shaykh Ibn Othaimeen, he said to us that in Sahih Muslim, there's a hadith, which is Sahih, of course. Rasulullah orders Sahaba to kill the dogs, the running away dogs, and street dogs. So Sahih Muslim. So if somebody come and read this hadith, he will take a gun and go kill dogs. But after this hadith, few hadith, there's a hadith that's saying, "Khalas, don't kill them," and abrogating the previous judgment. What he will do? He will go to these dogs and bring them back to life? To life? No way. So that's why we say ulama in here, they studied all of these hadith, and they gave you the summary of this, understanding of this hadith. We don't depend on ulama's words because they are not evidences. We have a clear saying in Arabic, say, قول العالم يحتج له ولا يحتج به. يعني what the alim says is not actually the evidence. It needs evidence. But of course we trust them because we trust that these ulama have already studied all the evidences about this topic and they gave us the summary. Fine, but still we are supposed to know the summary of the alim, but also know the evidences. So when we talk, we don't say to people, Shaykh Ibn Baz said, or Shaykh such and such Shaykh said. Because if you say, Shaykh Ibn Baz said, you say, okay, but why our alim in our area says so, something else. How are we going to deal with that? Easy and simple, by saying that, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his noble book say? What did Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in his Sahih hadith said? What did Sahaba say about that? Then we bring this with the alim understanding. And we say, okay, this alim is correct, or this alim is correct. Then we'll be in the right track. Because he said in the hadith, which is a clear hadith, called Hadith al-Iftiraq, that his ummah will be split into 73 sects. All of them in Jahannam, except one. La ilaha illallah. Then Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, who is this one? How describe them to us, so we will be try to be one of them, to be in this group. He said, the group or those people who are practicing Islam my way and my Sahaba's way. Man kana ala mithli ma ana alayhi wa ashabi. So if we want to be saved from being in Jahannam for any reason, let's stick to the way of Rasulullah and his Sahaba. Because they are the best people who practiced Islam as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted. If whatever people came later on, they gave their understandings, but this is not actually an evidence. The evidence is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, by the understanding of Sahaba. Whether you call them Salaf or whatever, this is what they would say. That's the way of Rasulullah and his Sahaba. And every Muslim would agree on that. Yani if you come to a Hanafi or Shafi'i or Maliki or Hanbali and say, listen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, or Rasulullah said, he will not say, no, Abu Hanifa said, or Shafi'i said. He cannot say that. And this is crazy. He will. That's Allah saying, and you say Abu Hanifa or Ahmad ibn Hanbal said, إيش هذا? Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, once he was telling Sahaba something about some judgment. He said what Abu Bakr says and Umar says. He said, A'udhu billah. I'm waiting for rocks come from the sky on you. I'm telling you, Rasulullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Rasulullah said, you say Abu Bakr or Umar. Abu Bakr or Umar, they are great people, and their sunnah is sunnah. Still, Ibn Abbas want to be able to understand that just take your deen from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the sunnah of Rasulullah, the way his way and Sahaba's way. You are on the right track. Without throwing away these school of thoughts like Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki, Hanbali. It's a great thought. They are really great ulama. They have done their best. And they did not bring things from their own. They give you the understanding of the Quran and Sunnah. But still we say that what they say is respected, but it's not evidences. Evidence is Quran and Sunnah. That's the correct way. Hope that's inshallah clear to all brothers. If you have any questions, you go ahead and post it in the chat box. Otherwise, topic almost and tonight is finished. Yeah.
May Allah accept. Jazakallah khair. Brothers, feel free to type any questions you have in the chat box. And remember, as always mentioned, share to share.
Yeah, and the case of these videos, the case of these posts, any da'wah material you can share with the others. Believe me, you are sharing the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for these things. When you share any video of any alim or any sheikh or any person who is making da'wah, you choose what's suitable for the people you are sending to. You have groups in Telegram or WhatsApp or any other social media. You choose short videos or whatever, or links or posts, and you share the link with the others or share this with the others. Believe me, you are sharing the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without making any hard time. Only a few clicks on the mobile or on the keyboard, and then you are sharing. But how much does it cost? Nothing. So I really urge myself and you, all brothers, to do your best to share this with your people, whether this video or some other videos for ulama and so on, where the people you may need. When you share these things with the people, believe me, even some people say, I cannot share things that I'm not practicing. No, why not? You don't have to practice everything to share it. Yeah, as an example, somebody shares some ahadith or ayat about tahajjud, yani qiyam al-layl. He doesn't pray. For some reasons, maybe because of his work, because of his health, because of whatever, he doesn't pray tahajjud or qiyam al-layl. Means I will not share the hadith with that? No, not true. Not true. Share it. Maybe some people will do tahajjud or qiyam al-layl or even fasting. You cannot fast for any reason, but you are reminding people of fasting Monday or Thursday or the white days, alayam al-bid, and so on, of every month. You're reminding them. Some people will fast because of you, although you are not fasting. You are getting the reward. No trouble in here. You have your reasons. Even if you have no reasons, still no problem. Da'wah is something else than your practice. No trouble in here. It's not hypocrisy. Some people think that's hypocrisy. I'm telling people to do something while I'm not doing it. No, it's not true. It's not hypocrisy. That's actually good thing to do. Remind people. Remind people of the share the good things with the people. You will share, inshallah, the reward. I think there's no questions tonight.
There's no question, Sheikh. Yes.
Inshallah, we'll meet you inshallah next week for another chapter, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our deeds. جزاكم الله خير for attending. والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.